Now, when you're adjusting your ring sling, ring placement is always something people are like, oh my gosh, I can't get my rings to stay up. They always are dropping. And a big suggestion that I see a lot is, oh, start with your rings behind your shoulder. Start with your rings at the top of your shoulder, almost at the back, at your shoulder blade, things like that. You don't need to. If you're adjusting from behind your shoulder blades, you're actually adjusting in a less efficient way than if you adjust towards your sling. So here's what I'm saying. If you're starting with your rings all the way up here or all the way back here, see how it's behind my shoulder now or at the top of my shoulder? What's likely happening is you're pulling straight down, which is changing the direction of your fabric, which is pulling in different places, causing your rings to drop. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So I have my rings overly high at the top of my shoulder, actually almost touching the back of my shoulder. So this is my demo baby, and he's wearing a 3-month onesie. So I'm going to put him in, wiggle his little feet in. And I'm going to create his little seat here. And get him deep in there. Okay. So now I'm going to adjust. Okay, now I want my rings to come down. So watch where I'm pulling. See, I'm pulling straight down and my rings are dropping. Pulling straight down and my rings are dropping. Especially if I pull on the outside straight down. My rings have now dropped to that corsage high up rings height. But they're lower. See, they're kind of lower than baby. And there's still slack. There's actually a lot of slack. If this were a real baby, I'm pulling all of this slack here, and I'm pulling all of this here. If this were a real baby, especially a newborn who doesn't have the trunk control, this baby is going to tip. This baby is going to end up over here because it's not fully adjusted. There's spots in your ring sling that haven't been fully tightened out. Even if I'm going to fan out my shoulder a little bit back here so it's a little more comfortable, it's still got slack that didn't get tightened out. So now I'm going to take baby out and I'm going to adjust in the direction of the sling. So I'm going to pre-fan out my threading here so it's nice and easy. Okay. So now I have my rings right where I want them. Yes, baby. I'm doing a video because I need to. So I'm starting with my rings where I need them. I'm starting with it off my shoulder, not terribly far down to my elbow, just kind of right in that middle section of my shoulder. My rings are where I want them. I've got a small pocket, and I'm ready to go get the baby. So here comes my baby. And again, I'm going to put him in. Get his little seat. And now I still have slack. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to think of my sling in a third for the top, a third for the middle, and a third for the bottom. I'm going to adjust towards those points because that's the direction the sling material is coming from. Without changing the direction, using small motions, it's going to keep your sling in place. So here's my slack in the top here. So I'm getting this top piece, lifting baby's bum, and just pulling a little bit out. I'm grabbing my middle towards his back, pulling that out. Grabbing this bottom towards the top of his diaper, pulling that out. I still have a little bit of slack here. I'm just going to do it again. Towards the top of his neck, his shoulder. Yes, baby. Towards his midsection. Towards the top of his diaper. Now he's in there. I don't have slats stuck anywhere because I've been able to follow the fabric. My rings didn't drop. They're still nice and high, corsage height, and baby's nice and snug. You're gonna have a more efficient tightening if you tighten towards the sling in small motions and you follow the direction of the fabric. Your rings will stay in place. You'll be able to tighten through the sling a lot better than pulling straight down. So I'm gonna do that quickly. Let's loosen this back up. So then I'm just gonna go just like that, super fast.